So toes are up, shoulders tend to creep up during the day. We want to drop them down away from our ears. Just be aware of that nice softness in the shoulders. Open the chest, bring your hands down by the side of your hips. Now, if your back and your hamstrings are still not straight, feel free to take the hands behind you and then have nice, long, straight legs and a straight spine. So this is Dandasana. We will return to Dandasana a few times. And when we're in Dandasana, I want you to draw your navel towards your spine. Not as if you're pulling your jeans on, but a just gentle contraction. You want to try and keep that contraction throughout your practice as well. And really engaging the core muscles throughout your practice. Okay, here we go. So this is Dandasana. I'm going to draw the heels in, Sadhakanasana. Draw the heels in. Malcolm's not going to draw his heels in. Long legs. Draw the 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 heels in. One more. Long legs and draw the heels in. Good work. So already you're feeling that activation now. 20 muscle groups past these hip joints. We're going to be working all of them. Toes up, shoulders back and down. Dandasana. Let's work the shoulders. Let's open up the shoulders a little bit while we're in Dandasana. Inhale the arms all the way up. And exhale all the way back down again. Inhale the arms all the way up. And exhale all the way back down again. One more. Inhale lifts you up. And exhale back down. So now we're going to come into a forward fold. We're not going to round the back. We're going to keep the back fairly straight. We'll keep looking at our fingers. Inhale, lift up. Point your toes. Exhale, straight back. No round back. We're looking at the hands. Inhale is the lift. Exhale is the release. Toes up. Arms up. Take an inhale. And an exhale. Inhale is the lift. Point the toes. Exhale, lengthen. No rounding back, we're looking at the fingers. Inhale is the lift. Exhale is the release. Toes up, arms up. Take an inhale. And an exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lengthen. And inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Return to Dandasana. So now we're going to take those feet in again. Yes or no? Depending on your hips, don't worry. Same movement with the arms. You may have props if you're finding this a little bit challenging, cushions or blocks or something may go under these knees. Same movements with the arms. Take an inhale and an exhale. Inhale is the lift, straight backs. Exhale is the length. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Two more. Inhale. Take an exhale. Let's focus on the breath. Inhale, lifts you up. Exhale, lengthens you. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, take the exhale here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lengthen. And inhale, the lift. And exhale, release. Bring the knees together, return to Dandasana. Toes are up, shoulders are down. Hope you're feeling it in the arms and shoulders already. Okay, we're going to go into the inner thighs. We're going to open the knees wide. Knees can be bent. If you've got super tight hamstrings, you'll probably need to bend those knees. You can even put cushions or props underneath them. Toes are up if you're coming with me. Shoulders are down, arms are up. Soften the shoulders, take an inhale and an exhale. Inhale is the lift. Point your toes, long straight back. Exhale is the length. Feel those inner thighs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Toes up, arms up. Take an inhale and an exhale. Softly drawing the belly to the spine. Inhale is the lift. Point the toes. Exhale is the length. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. So it's almost moving meditation. Toes are up, arms are up. Take an inhale and an exhale. Inhale is the lift. Exhale is the length. That's easy breathing. Inhale lifts you up. Exhale releases down. Pick up the knees. Return to Dandasana. Toes are up, shoulders are down. We just really enjoy our Dandasana. Stay where you are, just twisting around to take a different position so you can see what I'm doing. Fingertips behind, point them to your buttocks. Lift up your hearts, back bend. This is option 1. Option 2, feet flat. Knees separated, lift the hips. Look at your knees. So look at your knees so you can lift the hips a little bit more. Strong arms. Exhale, release. You can always turn your hands the other way if it feels more appropriate. Just try both ways. My way is hands pointing, feels much more relaxed on my wrist. And remember, you can keep the buttocks low. There is one more variation for those who've been practicing for a while. We'll have long legs. We're going to look at our toes. We're going to draw the toes down to the mat as we lift up the hips. So lift up and then release the head on the exhale if you want. And then release down. And then feet flat. Wrap your arms around your knees. Give yourself a nice, lovely hug. And then we're going to come into downward facing dog in a moment. So we all know our postures. Maybe Chris is a bit new to yoga, so I'm just going to demonstrate on the side. So hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Okay, you can tuck your toes under if you want to, or you can leave them neutral. Let's work the spine. Inhale the gaze up and the back is up. So we have a back bend going on here. Draw the navel to the spine. Exhale, rounding the back. Gaze at your navel. Inhale is the lift. Exhale is the rounding. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. You'll notice as we inhale, we come away from the body. And as we exhale, we draw in towards the body. This is generally what happens in most postures. 1 more. And then we'll come back to our neutral all fours. We're moving into that downward facing dog. So we're going to move the hips back, settle them down as far towards the feet as you can. Super long arms in front. Now, I want you to feel a real good stretch in the armpits. Anchor the hands to the mat. Onto your knees. Fingers are spread, thumbs facing each other. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, and move the hips back. Move back, move back, move back. You're in downward facing dog. Your head is hanging between your upper arms. Your navel is drawing to your spine. Your tailbone to the ceiling. You can bend both knees. If your hamstrings are super tight, you're going to need to bend both those knees so that we can keep the spine nice and long. And if you want, you can move around in your dog. There's no reason you have to be static. You can bend one knee, bend the other. You can move those hips. Anything you feel is fluid and good for your body. And then we're going to come back, knees onto the mat, untuck the toes, and we're going to take chana posture again. Wiggle your hands and your fingers, they've already been bearing weight. And then we're going to come back into all fours. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. The left toe is tucked, the right toe stretches away. We're going to lift the right leg up and point the toes to the back of the head as we lift the gaze up. And then round your back, draw the navel in. So just lifting up the right toes, pointing to the back of the head, lift the gaze. Arms are strong, not bent. Exhale, rounding, drawing the knee in. 2 more. Lift. Point, lift the gaze as well, the back bend going on, exhale, rounding and drawing in. And then 1 more, inhale, lift and point, Exhale, rounding and drawing in. And then knees onto the mat. Move the hips back. Open the knees wide, really wide. Rock the belly through those legs. You can have your fists underneath your forehead. You can have long arms. Whatever feels appropriate. Those who know your postures, you're drawing your heart down towards the earth. And then slowly we'll walk the hands all the way back. That was working into the groin. We continue working into the hips, hands under shoulders, re-establish your positions, knees under hips. So the left toe, right toe is tucked, the left leg stretches away. Inhale, lift the foot, point it to the back of the head and lift the gaze at the same time. Exhale, rounding back, draw the knee in. Inhale, lift and point. Exhale, rounding and drawing in. Inhale, lift and point. Exhale, rounding and drawing in. And one more, inhale, lift and point. Exhale, rounding and drawing in. And then bring the knees down. Walk the hips back. Again, hip and groin opener, toes together, legs and knees apart. You can do this on your back if your knees are compromised. And we settle down into that beautiful, it's called wisdom posture. We bring some focus on letting go of negativity. So some of the postures may be challenging. We don't worry about that. We let go of negativity. What we can do is wonderful. Walk your hands all the way back. Bring the knees together. We come back into downward facing dog. We're going to take that hip opener in downward facing dog. So super long arms in front. Onto the knees. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees. Exhale is your dog. Your right leg rises to the ceiling. Bring your right heel to your right buttock and take a little twist at the waist. Keep the shoulders in line. Bring the right foot down. Take the left leg all the way up to the ceiling, heel to buttock, and twist at the waist. And the shoulders stay neutral. And then take the left foot down. So child posture, for those who had enough of that one, those who want to, coming again with me. So we're back to down dog. The right leg rises, heel to buttock, and we twist. The left leg rises, heel to buttock, and we twist from the waist. And then we come back into downward facing dog. And then knees on the mat. Belly on the mat. Hands underneath your forehead. And we just focus on our breath. We just come back to our breath now. And then we'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders. More towards the chest. You'll notice your elbows tend to splay out. We don't want that to happen. We want to draw them into the body. Feel what happens when you draw the elbows into the body. The shoulders move back. It's what we want. And now we're going to lift the heart and the chest into Cobra. And then release down. We lift the heart and the chest. And then a gentle press through the hands takes you to Cobra back bend. Exhale, release. One more. Rising up through Cobra. And then we release. The next time we do this, we're going to transition. So we rise up. Now we go onto the knees and we straighten the arms. Move the hips back. We tuck the toes. We lift the knees and we exhale to dog. So from this downward facing dog, we're going to transition into our plank. So you're looking at your toes, come onto your tippy toes, float the shoulders over the wrist. Your knees can come down straight away if it's too intense. Then knees down, belly down, elbows in, We rise through the Cobra. Take the knees, tuck the toes, lift the knees. We exhale to dog. And then we'll float ourselves back into plank. Remember, the secret of plank is to push the heels away, strong legs, bring the knees down if it's too intense. Let's take the belly down, hands underneath the forehead, and we again focus on our breath. Now take your hands and place them underneath your thighs. So the palms are facing to your body and the back of the hands are on the mat. We're going to keep our forehead on the mat. So just follow instructions. Keep your forehead on the mat and lift both legs up towards the ceiling. And exhale, release. You're keeping your forehead on the mat. Lift both legs up towards the ceiling and then release. You should be able to feel those muscles working. One more. Forehead stays on the mat. Inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Take the hands away. Keep the toes on the mat. Keep the toes on the mat. Just lift the head and the heart. Looking at the mat. Exhale, release. Keep the toes and the hands on the mat. Just lift the head, the chest and the heart. And look at the mat. Pull the shoulders back. Exhale, release. Keep the toes on the mat. This time we lift the arms, chest and head. Keep the toes on the mat, lift the arms, chest and head. Exhale, release. One more. Toes on the mat. Arms, head, chest, lift. Look at the mat. Exhale, release. And now everything lifts. Legs, arms, chest, head. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Hands underneath the forehead. Soften. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Elbows draw in. Rising up through the Cobra onto the knees. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees. It's down dog. And again, we don't need to be static in downward facing dog. We can move around. Have a little play around with those hips and those hamstrings. And then we're going to bring both knees to the mat. Reach behind you for your right foot, bring it forward. Knee tracks over the ankle. Fingertips on the mat, back toe is tucked. We're just going to rise all the way up. This is taking into your lower back. Soften the hips down. Feel this big psoas muscle. Open the chest. Nice, easy breathing. Untap that back toe if it feels that you want to. Makes it a little bit more intense. Drop the hips, lift the heart. We're staying here for option one, or even here if it feels a little bit too intense on the spine. Remember, I forgot to say, you can have bricks or blocks if you've got them handy. You can always have the floor coming up towards you. Okay, if you're coming with me, drop the hips, lift the heart, feel the big psoas muscle. It wraps underneath your pelvis and comes up to the back, lower back. You're coming with me. One arm rises. The other one rises. Drop the hips, lift the heart. Feel it. Smile. Engage. Breath. And then hands down and we change sides. So the opposite foot comes forward. The back toe can stay tucked or untucked. We can have bricks, books. We're going into the lower back, so lift up if you want to. Soften the hips down. Lift up the heart, open the chest. Back toe can be tucked or untucked. If it's untucked, you'll feel a bit more of a tug in this big psoas. Navel is drawing to the spine. We're staying here, or one arm rises, the other arm rises. Drop the hips, lift the heart. Breathe and smile. Nice, easy breathing. And then slowly, fingertips to the earth. Take that foot back. Either child posture or downward facing dog, your choices. And again, if we want to move into our hips, we can do that quite nicely. Just moving around, feeling a bit organic in the hips and the hamstrings. And we can even take that downward facing dog, hip opener again if we want to, the right leg rising, heels to buttock, open up the hips, arms are strong, left leg rising, heels to buttock, open up the hips, arms are strong, and then we're going to bring the knee down, both knees down, take the right foot forward, the back toe tucks, and we lift that back knee into runner's lunge. And we push with those back toes to push us forward. Take a bow, bend the knees, and we inhale all the way up. And we exhale back to our Samasiddhi. Okay, we're going to pop a lot of those postures together in Hatha sun salutations. I'm going to do it very slowly to begin with. We'll do a couple of rounds after that. So you may want to just watch or join me. So you'll be coming to the front of your mats, right to the front of the mat. So you've got the whole mat behind you. So you can go this way, you can come which way smooth you want. Good. Inhale the arms all the way up. Back bend, tiny back bend. Bend the knees, exhale, swan down. We've done all these postures. Right leg stretches back, runner's lunge. Left leg joins it. Down dog. Inhale into plank. Or knees on the mat. Knees down, belly down. Elbows in. Cobra is the rising. Through the knees. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees. Exhale dog. Both knees on the mat. Reach behind you for your right foot. Bring it forward. Keep with your fingertips, back toe tucks, lift, runner's lunge, push, take a forward bow, bend the knees, inhale, rise, return to the back bend. Same flow, left leg. Inhale is the lift, back bend. Bend the knees, swan dive. Left leg, runner's lunge, look forward. Right leg, down dog. Into your plank. Knees on the mat, belly on the mat, elbows in. We rise through the Cobra, through the knees, tuck the toes, lift the knees, exhale into your dog. Both knees on the mat, the left foot comes forward, the right toe tucks, the back knee lifts, we push, take a forward bow on our journey upward, bend the knees, inhale is the lift, and we return to the back bend. Exhale. Okay, so let's flow together. I'm going to turn my back to you. Might be a little easier to follow. But inhale is the lift, back bend. Bend the knees, swan down. Right leg travels back. Gaze is forward. Left leg joins, down dog. Inhale, float you into plank. Knees, chest, elbows in. Rising through the Cobra, through the knees, tuck the toes, lift the knees, exhale dog. Both knees on the mat. Take the right foot, bring it forward. Back toe tucks, lift, push. Take it forward, bow, bend your knees. Inhale, lift, back bend. Exhale, back to your Samasiddhi. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, swan down. Left leg. Right leg down dog. Inhale, plank. Knees down, belly down. Elbows in. Cobra. Remember those elbows in. Onto the knees. Back to down dog. Both knees. Left foot forward. Back toe tucks. Lift. Push. Take a forward bow. Bend your knees. Inhale, rising. Back bend. And exhale back. Good work, guys. So now we can feel the breath kind of a bit ragged. We want to have that breath nice and calm. So let's calm the breath down. So we need to calm the breath because then it just becomes exercise. Now, if your breath is not calmed while we're calming our breath, feel free to do another sun salutation. Entirely up to you. Your practice. So while we're in Dandasana, separate your feet. We softly draw the navel to the spine. We soften the shoulders. The mouth is closed. And we inhale and exhale through the nostrils. Just bringing all our awareness back to that breath again. And then we're going to take the Uttasana posture. And this posture is going to really work into the hips, but we need to be careful that we're not pulling too much on the lumbar spine. So you may have bricks or blocks to assist you in this posture. Quite a slow posture. So we're going to take a forward bend, but when we forward bend, we don't round the back. We take our fingers to the hip flexors. We have a straight back, and straight back. And then we bend the knees. And then we bring the fingertips to the mat. So we'll still have bent knees. And you can have bricks or blocks here if you want to. And then we aim to straighten the legs. Feel that tug on the hamstrings. And then we bow. We come into this Uttasana nice and slowly. I'm going to take you through that one again. So bend your knees. Inhale, rising up. Engage the core as we rise up. You have your feet together. You can have your feet apart. Your posture, your yoga, your choice. So again, we flex from these hip flexors, straight back. Remember at the beginning we were nice straight backs, we're still straight backs. Now bend your knees, bend, 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 bend. Fingertips to the brick or to the mat. Now is when we straighten the legs. Start to straighten the legs and take your bow. If you have serious back issues, you may want to keep those knees bent all the time. And if you've been practicing for a while, you may want to take your hand on the back of your ankles. Take an inhale and exhale. Take another back. So bend the knees again. Engage the core. Inhale as a lift. And exhale back to Dandasana. Now, where your buttocks meet your thighs, there's a lot of tendons there. So when we're doing these hamstring openings, you need to be careful not to stress that area too much. So you want to feel a nice little stretch, but nothing intense. We're going to do it one more time. So again, we flex from the hips, straight back. Bend your knees, either have your brick or your book. Fingertips to the mat, and this is when we straighten. So the back's not involved now, just the hamstring. And we take that down. And now we can just move the weight a little bit towards the toes and just see what happens. If we move the weight a little bit towards the toes, we're going to get another real deep opening of the hamstrings. And then we bend both knees and we inhale, rising all the way up and exhale back to the front of your mat. So we really give those hamstrings a nice warm up. We give the hips a nice warm up. Now, Warrior 2 is a great hip opener and it's also for your hamstrings. So we're going to open the legs nice and wide. Now, the wider the legs are open, the more intense the posture. So if you're new, you may want to bring those legs a little bit closer in. The nice wide legs. And we're going to take the arms up again and soften the shoulders. We're going to draw the navel to the spine. We're going to firm up these legs. Okay, we're going to turn your left foot out and your right foot in. And then we're just going to walk that foot away from us until we can bend the knee. And we'll see that the knee tracks over the ankle. And you should be able to see your second toe. The back leg is really strong. We're pushing through the back heel. So this whole back leg is taking the weight away from this front knee. We're moving back and we're opening up the chest as well. So we're moving back and open. And then we gaze at the fingertips. Now Malcolm's knee is rolling in. So he needs to make sure that his knee doesn't roll in. He needs to draw it towards his little toe. So just make these little minor adjustments that may help you or may not. Depends on your hips. If it's too strong in the arms, take one arm behind you and gaze at the fingertips. 2 more breaths. And then we just come back to the center. We simply change sides. So the opposite foot turns, the back foot slowly turns in. The arms are strong, but the shoulders are soft. We bend the knee. We check our alignment. Knee tracks over the ankle. Knee's not rolling in. We can see our second toe. This back leg now is in operation. We're pushing through that back heel. We open the chest to the front. We move that back arm back. The arms are equal. And we gaze. As you know the posture, you can go a little bit deeper. Feel those hips, those hamstrings. 2 more breaths. And then slowly we come back to the center. Good work. So we're going to calm the breath down. We're going to come into tree posture. My favorite. So you can have a wall. It's quite handy to have a wall or even a chair. So for those who are new to tree, have a chair. For those who've got balance issues, have a chair or a wall. And put the outside arm on the chair or not, and take that opposite foot in. So when we take that opposite foot in, we're going to dig the heel in, right in towards the upper thigh. And we're going to turn the toes down. We're going to have the hips facing forward and take this knee out to the side a little bit. So with the support of the chair, now it may be that you don't need that chair, it's just your mind telling you that you need the chair. I'm going to draw the navel in, engage the core, squeeze the buttocks, open up the chest, and if you want to, you can leave the chair. And if you want to, you can rise up, use the chair if you need to, and you can open the branches of your tree as well. Couple more breaths. Bring the hands in front of your heart, and then we'll just release that leg. So you're going to need to turn around if you're on your chair. And again, we bring the opposite heel in. We lengthen through the spine, we squeeze the buttocks, and we focus on the tree posture in that position. Good work, guys. Some beautiful trees there. Some beautiful. I can see you. Jean Van Eyck is a beautiful tree. Carmel, beautiful. Some beautiful trees. Julie's really wonderful. Gillian, loads of you. Avril, Richard, Linda, perfections. Okay, you can come out of it, guys. We're just going to get the props that you have. Let me come back to the front of you. We're going to open up our hips in another balanced posture. So bring your arms up, soften the shoulders. Bring your left toe to the mat and lift the left knee up. And then take the arms all the way up. Lift the knee up. And exhale, release down. Take the arms out, soften the shoulders, opposite foot. You can stay there, or we can lift up. Lift the knee up, lift the arms up. And exhale, release down. Okay, dance of Shiva. So your left foot comes in, whoops, and it's not going to touch the body. It's just going to come in, and same leg is risen, the arm goes the top, and then this palm comes forward. It's called dance of Shiva. So this foot is not touching the body at all. It's an external hip rotation. We're drawing the navel to the spine. We can, if we want to, just bend the knee a little bit more if it feels more comfortable, and have a little movement in it if you want to. Dance of Shiva. It means no fear. And then we slowly release. And then the opposite foot. It doesn't touch the body. External hip rotation, same knee, same hand. And then the opposite one comes up. Flex the foot. Dance of Shiva. Breathe. Enjoy. And then release. Good work. So the next posture, we're going to do a hip opener and a balance. You may want to have a look, see what we're doing. We're going to do that downward facing dog hip opener, but we're going to flip it over a little bit. So it's a bit of fun. Make sure there's nothing around you that you can fall into. So let's get to our down dog first. Inhale is the lift. Bend the knees. Right leg back. Left leg back. Downward facing dog. So remember what we're doing. We're going to take the right leg up, heel to buttock, and you're going to look at your standing foot. Now your standing foot is going to swivel so that you can bring that upper leg back down onto the floor. And then you're going to take the opposite arm all the way up. And then exhale back into your down dog. Then maybe watching. You may not want to do it. The opposite leg lifts up, heel to buttock. Look at your standing foot, swivel it to allow the back foot to come down to the earth, settle it down, and then lift the arm up. And then release down. Back to down dog. I'm just going to do that one more time. So the right leg rises, heel to buttock. Look at the standing foot, swivel. Bring that back foot down firmly on the mat and lift that arm up. Back to the center in your down dog. The left leg rises, heel to buttock. Look at the standing foot, take your time. Swivel, land, lift. Then all the way back to your downward facing dog. Knees on the mat, child posture. So let's lay on our backs now. And let's draw those knees into the chest. And have a little roll around. Let's get the breath back. And then we're going to have a nice little quad stretch. We wet the hamstrings and the hips, just working those front of the thighs. So feet flat onto the mat. We simply roll over onto our tummies again. So we're in Sphinx. We're going to bring the left arm parallel to the mat. So it's nice long parallel to the mat. The closer it is to the chest, the more accessible your quads will be. Going to push through the forearms and lift up the heart. And then the right leg comes up and we reach behind or not, depending on how you feel, and we draw that heel to the buttock. Now, as you lift up, you have the back bend, and as you draw in, you have that quad stretch. Now, if you haven't landed, don't worry, just bring the foot in and keep lifting up the heart. Don't worry, be happy, and then release. And then the opposite arm comes in, parallel to the mat. The closer it is to the chest, the more opportunity you have to lift. And then the opposite foot comes in, and we draw it in. Again, if it's not there, don't worry. Just lift up that chest and draw it in. Good work. And then release. Hands underneath the shoulders, elbows draw in, rise through the Cobra, onto the knees. And again, we return to laying on the mat. We're starting to slow down now. We're just going to work the abdominals a little bit with a little bit of hip movement. You may want to see what I'm doing. So pop yourself up for a moment. It's just a flow, just flows into the abs and flows into the hips. And it takes a moment to get into that flow, so don't worry. Arms are wide, knees over chest. I'm going to take the knees to the right and I'm going to hover. And then the top leg is going to go straight. And I'm going to swing it over to the other side and bring my hips over to the other side. And the top leg is straight and we swing it over and we join the knees together. So it takes a while to get into it, but it's a nice way of really releasing the hips and working into the abdominals. And it doesn't matter if you're not doing it exactly the way you feel you want to. Whatever you're doing is wonderful. We're going to do a couple more. We're really working into those hips and into the abdominals. And then we're going to settle knees into chest and have that little roll around. Both feet flat onto the mat. And the right leg rises to the ceiling. Right ankle crosses over the left knee. Great little hip opener. Options, through the triangle around the back of the thigh, draw in. You can even go in front of the knee a little bit, below the kneecap though, and draw in a bit more. And back spread on the mat. And then the left foot down and the right foot down. And the left leg rises, ankle over the knee, we soften and enjoy here, or through the triangle around the back of the thigh, drawing in. Front of the knee if you want to, just finding your movements your body wants to do. 3 options in this posture. What could be on the mat. And then release the feet. I want you to walk your feet really wide. So one foot touches one edge of the mat, the knees are bent, the other foot touches the other edge of the mat. The arms are open and wide. We simply drop the knees to the right. Come back to the center, we drop the knees to the left. Feel that area where we've been working. Back to the center, to the right. Back to the center, to the left. And one more round to the right. To the center and to the left. Bring the feet flat. So just relax now, let the spine relax. So instead of relaxation, of course you can do your relaxation, but we're all going to sit up and have a little meditative seat if you want to. I'm going to take you off the mat with the assistance of the hips. So your feet are flat onto the mat. You're going to lift your buttocks and place your hands flat on the mat underneath you. And then just lower your hips back onto the back of the hands. So you feel the weight of the hips. And draw the knees into the chest. Take both legs straight up to the ceiling. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, lower the legs and lift the chest, and we return to Dandasana. If you're not sure about that one, I'm just going to demonstrate again. But it's quite a nice way to get up, back into your Dandasana. So you're going to place your flat hands underneath your buttocks and settle the buttocks down, knees together. Then bring your knees over your chest. Take your legs straight up to the ceiling. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, lower the legs and simultaneously lift the chest up and you're back in your Dandasana. We're just going to either lay down again if you want to. We're just going to have a couple of minutes, just a couple of minutes back in that meditation. And we're going to just really focus on the breath and letting go of any negativity that we may have. Just enjoy this beautiful life that we have, enjoy every day that we have, and enjoy your breath. Just be aware of your inhales and your exhales. Just leaving your meditation. I'm hoping I'm leaving the meditation with you wanting more, so that you can do that at any time that you want. Bring your hands in front of your hearts. I do hope you find some golden moments in your meditation. Take a long, deep inhale. Open the mouth, hard breath, exhale as you bow your head.